Conservative government's argument that the Environmental Protection Agency should be allowed to continue enforcing its anti-air pollution rule in 11 states. The government made its arguments Wednesday before the court. The Good Neighbor rule is intended to restrict smokestack emissions from power plants and other industrial sources that burden downwind areas with smog-causing pollution. 3 energy-producing states, Ohio, Indiana, and West Virginia, challenged the rule, along with the steel industry and other groups. They called it costly and ineffective. The rule is on hold in a dozen states because of separate legal challenges. Supporters said the rule protects downwind states from receiving unwanted pollution. And attorneys are prepared to make opening statements at the first trial related to the fatal shooting of cinematographer by actor Alec Baldwin during a rehearsal for the Western film Rust. Before Baldwin's case progresses, the weapons supervisor is on trial on charges of involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on October 21, 2021, on a movie ranch outside Santa Fe. Opening statements are scheduled for today. Gutierrez-Reed has pleaded not guilty to the charges and maintains she's not directly to blame for Hutchins' death.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Rain throughout the day, may be heavy at times, will reach a high near 50. Rain tonight through the early evening, otherwise cloudy with a low of about 40. The sunshine is back on Friday. Look for a high near 48. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Thursday, February the 22nd of 2024, at 10 after 10, we've got a temperature of 43 degrees with rain in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
I have never been so happy to see a guest walk into the room in my life. Dear goodness. It's 10 minutes after 10. It is raining. Brad, God bless you. Brad Robison is with me, and we're going to talk about Beaver County flag football. We're not going to talk about anything stupid. We're not going to talk about dumb people, and we're going to talk about positive things. And you walked into a hornet's nest. Oh, hi, Brad. Have a seat. How are you?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever got such a great welcome. I don't know that I've ever walked in a room and been a guiding light, but that's great to hear. You were the sun rising on the 41st day and the olive leaf showing up on the boat. Okay.
Because we're talking about something. How many people even know, or let me rephrase it. There are people in Beaver County that don't know anything about Beaver County flag football.
It's crazy.
I know about it because it's a wonderful program. If somebody's listening, they're like, Beaver County has flag football? Brad Robison is my guest. Explain what the program is first.
So actually, this will be our 9th season. So that's why every time somebody says to me, I didn't even know you existed. And it's like, well, we have signs everywhere. We're all over
You brought a
media,
sign in for us? Yeah.
So 9 years ago, we started the league. We're co-ed. We do boys and girls, pre-K through 12th grade.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, boys and girls on the same team?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, flag's a lot different. The physical size and doesn't really matter. I think with flag, it's more speed and shiftiness. You know.
Sneaky and skeevy and quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why did you start the program 9 years ago?
So I've been coaching. This will be my, I think, 34th year. You lose track after a while.
You've been coaching football 34 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So for years, you heard about concussion to see kids get hurt.
CTE and all that,
right.
And we find out more every day.
Yeah, and now they're diagnosing the gentleman from KDKA.
John Burnett.
Yeah, I was like, wow. But so, kids were we saw the concussions on TV with NFL players and with kids were getting them too. So I was with the Chippewa Indians at the time. Well, actually, it started way back in like 2007. I approached the Youth Tackle League to do a flag league, and they thought it was funny. So
wait, I was about to ask, how receptive were they? And they thought there was humor in it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Some of the guys were,
Was it that's not macho?
Yeah, there was a lot of things said that I couldn't repeat on the radio in that meeting, and so
we ain't raising no candy beep 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 beep.
Yep. That's not real. Real guys play tackle, things like that.
Sure.
Which I played tackle and I coached tackle, so I get it. But so in 2000. I think 14 or 15, I got asked to help with the Chippewa Indians organization with Chad Hours. And, the numbers with football were dropping across the country. And a big part of that was all the attention to concussions.
When you have former all-star legendary NFL players get asked, would you let your kid play? And they say no.
Yes.
It didn't help the cause at all.
And I actually, if you recall who Darryl Green is with the Washington Redskins.
Yes, I do.
I was at a seminar with him back in November, and we spent a lot of time together talking, and he wouldn't let his kids play. But after talking with me, he's like, would you like to come to, he has a house in Virginia, and he's from Houston, so he's like, would you like to come down to Virginia and Houston and help me start 2 leagues? And I said, absolutely. So I turned him around in a little bit of conversation. But so with Chippewa, what we did, we were the first organization in Pennsylvania to do impact testing of all our players and cheerleaders.
What is that?
So impact test the brain before
Is that
it's injured.
that's a cognitive baseline?
Yes, it gives you a baseline of what your normal brain activity is.
Okay.
And it's done on a computer. It takes probably 20 minutes. And we found that through Dr. Kilpatrick, who is the concussion specialist at Heritage Valley. He's since left for he lives in a different state now. But I did a lot work with him, and he's like, well, you can't impact test a kid till they're 12 years old. And again, my argument was, why are we putting kids out there to hit their head if we can't even tell what normal is to tell what an injury is?
Why can you not test until they're 12? Is it they're not developed enough to even base a baseline?
Yeah, my understanding is it's a developmental issue. So that test won't register until they're usually 10 to 12 years old. It depends on the child.
Are there kids that want to play flag football instead of tackle football? Or are their parents pointing them in that direction?
I would say yes. Now we were doing really good until COVID hit.
Sure.
And then last year we had our most kids ever. So we had over 650 kids. So.
All right, well, you can't test the kids cognitively until they're 12. And we know now, and I'm sure you know this, the human brain doesn't stop developing until 23, 24, 25.
Right.
At that point, if you're playing football younger than that, you're putting an underdeveloped brain at danger.
Exactly. You're putting your child, and you might as well put them in front of a freight train. Because if something happens, just go up to the Children's Institute in Pittsburgh one time. I'd encourage anybody to do that. I mean, they work with Potter Willie when the manager of the Pirates there. He liked Pittsburgh because of that. But there's a lot of brain injuries up there. Kids that fell on their bike. It's something to see. I mean, parents would change their total view of things if they saw a child who was like the head of their class and everything and fell over the handles on a bicycle and now
is the TBI, right? Traumatic brain injuries. Yes. And, well, one of my best friends in school fell off his bike. Spent a year relearning how to walk and talk.
Exactly.
So when you're talking
I'm not
about
saying
brain,
that's going to happen. I
right.
mean, but over time, it's just like we're getting older, so our joints. You do something repetitively, and you just keep piling on the injury and what can happen. And then when you get older, we see what happens. You see so many of these NFL stars who can't even get around without assistance because they don't say much because they're cognitively they just can't.
We're talking about flag football. Brad Robison with Beaver County Flag Football is my guest. Did you play tackle football? I'm assuming if you coached 34, 35 years.
Yes, I went to Blackhawk High School and played there. Unfortunately, due to a bad knee injury, I couldn't play in college. I actually went to Auburn. So
wait, what?
Yeah, I went to Auburn University. So I know you're a Bama guy. Listen,
the tone of this interview might change. I appreciate. I agree with everything you said, but it coming from an Auburn guy.
Actually, I was worried this morning when I found out Eli Gold wasn't announcing
How about that?
Alabama anymore. I said, well, Eddie might be gone. He might be announcing Alabama this year.
Eli, now see, we're having this insight cover. People that don't know, Eli Gold is the announcer for University of Alabama. Has been for 1,000 years.
Yes. The
most beloved figure. Now that Saban's retired, I guarantee you Eli Gold has the highest Q rating in the state of Alabama. Yes. But he made it clear he's not doing next year's games, and it wasn't his decision.
Yeah, it was the universities, which is kind of sad. I mean,
yeah, times change. Maybe it's progress. And that's what we're talking about here. When you were in high school, how much was known about concussions? You didn't get a concussion, did you? You got your bell rung.
You got your bell rung, or
got the snot knocked out you.
Yeah. But. I seen kids I played with glassy eyes, and it just looked like there was nobody there. And I'm like, wow. So fortunately, I know now I had a concussion in a car accident in 2015, and now I know that I never had one because that was the worst thing to deal with in my life.
If you've never had one, the first one is an attention getter. It's scary how much can go wrong with one, like my friend that fell off his bike, one incident. Do you get more enjoyment out of watching kids develop athletically, or do you get more enjoyment out of watching society better recognize the benefits of what you're doing with flag rather than tackle football?
I would have to say I get the most enjoyment out of watching kids develop.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's nothing better for a coach than when you see a kid that you see potential in and the light bulb goes off. Or on, I should say. It makes everything you do worth it. With that said, it's probably more important, the other point, that society's becoming more aware of it. The shame of it is that football don't even have the most concussions. So
what does?
Soccer's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a lot in basketball too, but like Dr. Kilpatrick at the time, when we had all these discussions, and I did a couple seminars with him, was that when you, I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. It's an Auburn guy. I'll let it go.
Yeah. You have to let that slide.
Roll Tide. And say, wait, this is one concussion.
Yes.
And you lose your
one
train
concussion.
of thought.
I can't even get on the radio and talk.
You talking about one concussion, the brain of a young person, and if you want to, you can get into that one concussion and how long does it take to heal before you can't get another concussion, because do we really know that?
That's all on an individual basis. That's what I found out with that, was that they used to rate concussions like 1 to 5.
Yes.
But they found that those scales didn't matter into how quickly you recovered. So
how bad
if you had a low grade, you might not recover for 6 months. You could have a severe concussion and recover in a couple weeks. So they don't rate them. A concussion is, it depends on the individual, and it depends on how long their brain takes to recover. It's like shaking a snow globe.
Yes.
So
I've heard that analogy. And how long does it take to settle back down? How do I put this? What are the major medical or injury concerns that go away when you go to flag football from tackle football, other obvious concussions?
Right. So the one thing with flag football, I'm not going to say there's not contact, okay, because inadvertent contact happens all the time, but there's no tackling whatsoever. You can't pull a player to the ground. So when you take contact out of any sport, you eliminate ligaments and tendons moving in places they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have zero injuries? No. You might have a player bump heads or fall on the ground or turn an ankle, but we've never had, knock on fake wood, a serious injury in flag football in our league. But we're very strict on that. We have, lots of rules in place. We have a couple of our own rules that nobody else does just because they make sense.
What are they?
So there's if you're the last defender, like the safety, in other words.
All right.
Tackle and flag football are two different sports, but they use the same terminology sometimes.
You're the free safety.
Yeah, the ball is the only thing that's really the same.
Okay.
So if you're the last defender and I'm the offensive guy and you pull me to the ground,
okay,
normally that would just be a penalty for tackling. But we had a coach the first year coaching his team to tackle him. I'll take the penalty, just don't give up the touchdown.
And this is in flag football. How old were the kids?
They were probably 7.
Oh, for God's sake.
So I was like, you can't do that.
No. Well, that's a professional foul in soccer. If you drag the guy down, you get in serious trouble.
Right.
They know what the rule is. You can't just say, okay, how did that work out?
So what we did, we have a very strict code of conduct with coaches, parents, fans, kids, everybody. So, we had a talking with him, and then we decided, you know what, we saw it more and more, maybe not guys telling them. So we put in, it's called the last man rule. So if you're the last defender and you take that offensive player to the ground, it's an automatic touchdown and half the distance to the goal. Don't have a problem with it anymore.
It stopped, didn't it?
So
where do the coaches come from? Are they the moms and dads?
Yeah, usually. We have some people that volunteer who just have coached for years and want to do it. Aunts and uncles. We have moms. Some of our best coaches have been moms.
I bet the kids listen to the moms more than the dads sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, moms have that way of commanding respect without
demanding
to forcefully do it. Yeah. So I would say that could be true as well.
Brad Robison with Beaver County Flag Football is my guest. Can you hang out next half hour?
Yeah.
Yep. For an Auburn guy, you seem all right.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You and Charles Barkley might be the only two. Next is News with Curtis.
Do you wish that you had the support of a family in your financial institution? You can when you become a family member at Friendly Federal Credit Union. This is Cindy Haladio. During February, the month of showing love and appreciation, Friendly Federal Credit Union wants to show you how true it really is. If you haven't already, apply for membership at Friendly Federal Credit Union with offices in Elliquip and Baden. Enjoy low or no fees with your account, favorable terms and interest rates, and the added benefit of putting money back into your community. What are you waiting for? It's time for a family reunion. Join the thousands of other local people who are already part of the friendliest family in Beaver County. The member owners at the place that makes more sense for you. Friendly Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union. You got a friend.
95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com, invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 for a mix of the best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire and Beaver, the William Murphy Funeral Home, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, Circle of Friends, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and Rome Monument and Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith, uplifting, relaxing, and inspiring radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Recently, Tom Young from First Consultants, Inc. in Beaver shared a note that he received in the mail from a happy client.
Just a note to thank you for helping us feel secure financially during this awful time. The market hasn't affected us at all and our assets are all secure. So at least the current economy isn't causing us to lose any sleep. Stay well, Tom. Regards, John and Sandy. This is what I mean when I talk about and say guaranteed income. Guaranteed income, even in the market that we have right now, it is so important not to lose money.
Visit firstconsultantsinc.com or be a part of Tom's live presentation starting at 9 a.m. on the third Tuesday of each month on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is no way affiliated with First Consultants, Inc., nor is First Consultants, Inc. a registered investment advisor.
Tune in every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another insightful edition of Living Well, a special segment on Beaver County Radio designed to help you enjoy the best, most fulfilling, and healthiest life possible. Hosted by Dr. Joseph Maroon and Jeff Boast, and presented by St. Barnabas. Living Well, Saturday mornings at 8:30. Right here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP Beaver Falls, WMBA Ambridge, along with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
Beaver County Radio proudly welcomes Fry Transportation to their family. You're listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect rain showers today with a high near 49 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. Federal investigators say the city of Pittsburgh did not adequately maintain or repair a bridge, leading to the corrosion of the structure's steel legs and its collapse into a ravine more than 2 years ago. The city-owned Forbes Avenue Bridge fell down in January 2022, plunging a bus and 4 cars about 100 feet into the Fern Hollow Creek. Another vehicle drove off the East Bridge abutment and landed on its roof. National Transportation Safety Board investigators said Wednesday that the collapse shouldn't have happened, blaming repeated failures to act on extensive corrosion to the uncoated weathering steel. A new bridge at the site opened to traffic in December 2022. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that the Center Township supervisors received an update on the municipal complex renovations at their meeting Tuesday night. The project is set to be complete in July or August, according to Township Chairman Bill DeCiccio Jr. Park improvements should also be completed around the same time. Ross Urey was hired as a full-time police officer, and a streetlight request for Garden View Estates was approved by the supervisors. They'll meet again on Monday, March 18th at 7 p.m. A number of Americans are dealing with cellular outages on AT&T, Cricket Wireless, Verizon, T-Mobile, and other service providers, according to data from Down Detector. AT&T had more than 73,000 outages this morning, Cricket Wireless with 13,000, Verizon 4,000, and T-Mobile more than 1,800, as well as Boost Mobile with about 700 outages. If Pennsylvania American Water gets its latest rate hike, more than 770,000 water and wastewater customers in 37 counties would be affected. Here's Danielle Smith with a report.
For now, the Pennsylvania Public Utilities Commission has hit pause on the proposed water and sewer rate hike while it conducts its own investigation. Patrick Cicero with the Pennsylvania Office of Consumer Advocates say the increase would boost the company's total annual revenue for water services by $204 million. He says the company estimates about a 20% increase in water bills and not as much for sewer service customers.
We anticipate that it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20% on each side if they get what they want. It all depends on what the Public Utility Commission awards them, though. We don't think they're entitled to $204 million. We're requesting a much smaller rate increase than that.
The PUC has until August 7th to make a final decision. Cicero says a family of 3 now pays about $70 a month for water, and the average wastewater customer pays $106. If they use more than 3,200 gallons of water, their bills would increase even more under the new plan.
Acting Secretary of the Department of Health, Dr. Deborah Bogan, announced that the Shapiro administration has launched a $1 million tuition assistance program to help recruit and retain emergency medical services professionals. Administered by the Department of Health, the program is funded by $1 million from the Fireworks Tax Act each year for the next 3 years. Pennsylvania residents who obtained a Pennsylvania state certification as an emergency medical responder, emergency medical technician, advanced emergency medical technician, or paramedic after July 1st, 2023 are eligible to have a portion of their tuition reimbursed. And the Eagles' longtime manager says a never-published biography of the Eagles delved deeply into the superstar classic rock band's 1980 breakup. Irving Azoff testified Wednesday on the first day of a criminal trial that involves roughly 100 pages of hand-drafted lyrics to Hotel California and other Eagles hits. 3 collectibles professionals are charged with scheming to thwart Eagles co-founder Don Henley's efforts to reclaim the pages. He and prosecutors say they're stolen. The defendants deny that and have pleaded not guilty to charges including conspiracy to possess stolen property. They got the documents from the book's writer, who isn't charged with anything.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Rain throughout the day, maybe heavy at times, will reach a high near 50. Rain tonight through the early evening, otherwise cloudy with a low of about 40. The sunshine is back on Friday. Look for a high near 48. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Thursday, February the 22nd of 2024, at 35 after 10, we've got a temperature of 43 degrees with rain showers in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
It is Teleforum, and I'm having a wonderful conversation with a gentleman that went to the Cow College. See, I'm insulting you to try and get you on it. Brad Robison is my guest. Brad runs Beaver County flag football. I'm going to get more back, but I had no idea you were an Auburn guy.
Yep.
And we're just sitting there going, he seems all right. But why is this still going on? Why have you invested, what'd you say, 9 years of this? What keeps you doing it? Because I know it takes up a lot of your time.
The kids keep us doing it. When you see the beauty about flag football is anybody can play it, and you see a child who maybe in a basketball game wouldn't make a three-pointer or wouldn't hit a home run.
He's there, but he's not shining.
He may not ever score a touchdown in regular football, but in flag football, it's different because you don't have that physicality. And when you're running, everybody's like, just pull the flag. And I'm like, you have no idea how hard that is. You know, you're moving, the player's moving, and your target's moving.
The flag's flapping.
Yes. So it's a lot harder than people think. But you'll see a kid score a touchdown, and you'd think that they, are going to Disney World after they won the Super Bowl. So that makes it worth it, just to see their faces.
That might be the first time that kid has actually been proud about something they've done.
Or because they go nuts, the parents and the grandparents go nuts, and it's just an amazing thing to see. So
when is the season for Beaver County flag football? I want to make sure people that are interested in getting their kids and grandkids signed up, I want to give them time.
Yeah, so our registration ends on March the 2nd, and that's a hard end because we have to order the uniforms, get them in, build teams, and it takes a while to do that. But the season starts on Saturday, April the 2nd in Chippewa Township. We play at Wright Field at Veterans Park, and it ends, we do our championships over Saturdays and Sundays. We're going to do them in Chippewa this year. They'll be May 11th and May 12th.
Are communities becoming more open to this? Like when you went to Chippewa, obviously they said, yeah, come on.
Yes.
Has that been tougher in the past than it is now?
I think it was there's more attention to flag and I think it's more received.
Okay.
Number one, because of the NFL. The Pro Bowl.
They've got a program with it.
Yeah. Well, we were with them to begin when we started, but just the support wasn't very good in the customer service. So
it was
we
lip
switched.
service.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we switched to Under Armour, then COVID happened, and then we just went sovereign and said we can do this better ourselves. So, but with the attention to that, it's going to be an Olympic sport.
I saw that.
Yeah. And actually, we ChadOwers and I, who founded the league, we've been asked to aid and go to Harrisburg. They're trying to petition the PIAA to make girls flag football an official high school sport. Right now in Beaver County, we have two teams. Aliquip and Ambridge both have a girls team, and they play like West Allegheny. They play Moon.
Why is that not already? Because when you said girls high school, I live in Ambridge.
Yeah,
they're playing. We have bocce teams.
Yep, bowling. Trap shoot
and
teams, there's all kinds of things today.
Nothing wrong with any of that,
Yeah.
but I would think football would be embraced. Or is it the flag football thing? Or I've ranted about the Whippio before. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's, anytime somebody has complete control of whatever they want to do, it ain't always ending up in the best interest of the communities.
That's exactly true. So I don't understand why more schools don't have. I mean, I guess now it's considered an intramural sport, but but the larger schools like Central Valley, Hopewell, Blackhawk, I don't understand why they don't have teams too. But so they actually, we have 2 seasons. We play a spring season and a fall season. Our spring season's our biggest, but they play their season starts. We start on Saturday the 2nd. They play their first game Sunday the 3rd. So they play in the spring also.
Do you get kids that play tackle football in the fall and then come and play flag in the spring?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the other thing that I tried to convey to youth, and it's the organization, Beaver County Youth Football tackle organizations changed over the years. They had several great presidents who, Dave Thompson from Brighton Township ran it forever, and Dave's an amazing man. But when he was president, we got more into, we got more people to pay attention. And what's happened was I said, Pennsylvania isn't like the South. They don't allow spring football. So BCYFL had the same thing. You couldn't do anything in spring. So this lets you develop your players. And the nice thing I like about flag from a coaching perspective is it lets you develop players who, if they want to go play tackle, it develops pursuit angles, how to run routes crisp, cutback lanes.
The skull session stuff that you would be learning in sitting and watching video. You're actually acting it out. That's way easier and way better a learning process.
Yes. And then the thing I like about it is it lets those kids learn those nuances of the game without that fear of getting hit. So when they go in, they're like, I've done this before, and they can focus on their safety and not already know what they need to do. You know what I mean? So there's a team at Hopewell right now. The 8th grade team at Hopewell is incredible. They started my flag league at 4 and 5 years old.
So they've all come up doing this every year.
Yeah, and I remember, and I helped coach that team when they went to tackle. And I remember we came out and went 4 wides and threw the ball down the field, and the other team was like, what was that?
It was, you're playing chess, they're playing checkers, kind of.
Yeah, so now, so then that team, the same team, the a year younger in Beaver Falls or the same age, that team's excellent. They started at 4 years. Some of them were younger than 4. So now we get a lot of tackle players coming in the spring and coaches because they can develop. It's like they can use it like a 7-on-7, develop their passing game because the passing game is becoming more prevalent. In Beaver County, a lot of teams are still, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So.
I'm curious, why wouldn't a high school tackle coach, why wouldn't they want their kids in the flag football program? Because you're intellectually developing them, but you're keeping them out of potential serious harm's way at the same time.
Well, high school coaches, that's a different animal because they have 7-on-7 in spring. So they're doing that. So this is like this, a lot of coaches are using this for the same thing for youth and middle school because they don't have 7-on-7 in youth and middle school.
All right. Completely off the wall question. How much less is insurance for flag football than it is for tackle football?
It's exactly the same.
Is it really?
There's only 3 companies that write youth sports insurance, so they all know that you have to come to one of them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they banded together. So it's based on the number of participants. I'm like, wait a second. So I'm reducing your risk because our players practice 1 day a week and play 1 game a week.
Mm-hmm.
Their game's over in 45 minutes, not 3 hours. They're not hitting each other.
Yeah.
And my insurance costs as much as it does for a tackle. That makes no sense. So.
Is that getting to the point? Because I've read stories that's going up, and in some cases, there are schools that nobody will give them insurance. Is that starting to creep into the flag league?
Not with flag, because, like I said, we haven't had a major injury. I think that, we had a kid bump his nose and it bled. That might be the worst one we had. Where I was in tackle, I seen kids get taken off with their leg in a brace.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But the injuries aren't there, but the cost of everything. Like, guess what a football costs today?
I want to say about $50, and I bet
a composite
I'm low.
ball, which isn't even leather, is $70.
Wait, one of those crappy plastic vinyl ones that when they get wet you can't hold them?
They feel like leather, but they're a composite material. They're actually, I think they're easier to hold.
All right, $70.
$70. If you want a real leather one, $90.
And how many does a team need?
We provide each coach. Well, they don't.
Balls.
Yeah, with flag we play 6-on-6, and they only have 12 kids on the team at the max. So we give them a ball, and that's their game ball and their practice ball. But we're in the process of having our own flags made in China, and the same company that makes the footballs we watch on the field on Sunday are going to make our footballs, and they're going to be less than a tenth of the price.
How much does it cost to play in the league?
Registration is $120.
How many games?
You play. Well, we changed the format up a couple years ago. So if you were in the league before, we played 2 20-minute games with a running clock.
Okay.
We changed that and went to a 1 40-minute game. So you play 6 weeks and then playoffs. So you could end up playing, well, depending on how many teams are in an age group, because everybody makes the playoffs, you could end up playing six, probably 8, 10, 12 games, depending on how many teams we have.
How much success is demonstrated to you when you have kids in the league and come back the next year?
What was that again?
When kids come back for a second year of flag, does that show you we're doing this well and people are embracing it?
Yes, and it also, we see that when that kid not only comes back, but they're bringing their cousins, their friends, and everybody with them. And it's like, yeah, that kid really likes it. So,
and how many of these kids wouldn't ever even think about playing tackle football, but they're out here doing flag football?
I would probably say, well, in our fall season, there's a few that play tackle and flag, but there's only a few. So I'd say in fall, none of those kids would have probably thought of playing tackle. Or they would be,
Right.
In the spring, I'd probably say half.
Considerable number.
Probably half play tackle and half don't.
Okay. We're talking Beaver County flag football. Do you have a website where people can go and get all the information we're talking about?
Yeah, we have. You can go to either beavercountyflagfootball.org, which is kind of long, or bcyflag.com.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page with all the information. We have FYI on there. There's a registration link. We're always looking for volunteers for coaching. So you can go to either one of those. That's bcyflag.com or beavercountyflagfootball.org.
All right, you came up in tackle football. You were a coach for umpteen years, nine years now doing flag. Who's a bigger, in general, who is a bigger pain in the neck? A tackle football dad or mom, or a flag football dad? And when it comes to lunacy from the stands, and I know you've seen it.
There's no difference.
They're just as wound up as really?
Yes. So
you paused to say that. I appreciate.
Yeah, because it's a big thing for me. You know, are
there rules?
Coaching so many years and seeing parents act
jag-offs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just a terrible thing to project on your kid. You know, I mean, imagine the embarrassment. You know, I was fortunate and unfortunate. My parents weren't really into sports, so when I played, they came, but they really had no idea what was going on. They could have cared less.
Look, there's my son. Did he do good? Okay.
Yeah, people were like, your son did really good. And they're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
They didn't have any clue. So, you know, our league's very different. Chad and I together have been in youth sports a long time, and Chad was the JV coach at Blackhawk for basketball, and we've seen it all. So, you know, not only are our rules different, but we have a strict code of conduct.
That's why I ask about parents.
Yeah.
I want to get back to the code of conduct because sadly, that's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
What can I not do if I'm watching my daughter play flag?
You can't yell at your kid, another kid, a coach, a player, a referee, a league official, or get into an argument with another fan, or you're gone. I throw you out.
Right then, no double secret probation. You're gone.
You're gone. And if it happens again, you're gone for life.
Can you yell, "Yay, my kid"?
Yeah, you can do that.
You can't just scream at the kid.
Yeah, you scream at the kids or scream at the other team and tell them they, stink or whatever. You keep it positive. The last thing I want is Johnny to wake up on Saturday morning and not want to come to flag football because Mom, Dad, or Uncle Bob are going to embarrass him.
Right.
So, and that's a legit thing.
I've been on teams growing up where I had teammates that, oh God, my dad's coming today. They were just terrified and cringed, and it's exactly what you said. All the teammates are looking at that guy going, man, what's up with your dad?
Yeah, and let me give you an example, Eddie. We had playoffs a few years ago. This was probably 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And this really good team, I won't mention any names. They were from Beaver County. But they were really good. But they were playing in the semifinals to go to the championship against the Brighton Township team. And they were winning. But and it starts with the coach.
Yes, it does.
If the coach is complaining, then the kid says, well, if he's complaining, I can complain. And the parents complain. It's a snowball rolling down the hill. It becomes an avalanche. Mm-hmm. So in this game, they're winning. And it started with the coach and the assistant coach and the fans. And I had to go out on the field and stop the game twice and say, we're not doing this.
If I come back again, we're done.
We're done. I'm calling the game.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get off the field. And it started again. I come out. I grabbed the ball. I said, this game's over. You forfeit. You're going to the championship.
How long did it take you to get to your car?
It took a while. And I had a mother who was one of the ones, that was the worst.
Yappers.
Come over to the concession stand and said, I can't believe you did that to my son. And I said, I hate that you see it that way because it wasn't what I did to your son, it's what you did to your son. Mm. If you hadn't done what you did, the game would have never been called. But it isn't like I come out and just said, this game's over. I warned you guys 2 times before and told you what was going to happen, and you continue to act that way anyway.
Are parents worse now than they were 30 years ago?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is?
I think that we live in an era or a time in history where society is very entitled. They think that they deserve everything, right? Their child's the best. It's unbelievable. And have you ever read the book The Sports Gene?
No.
You got to read that book, Eddie. It's amazing.
Gene, Gene?
Yes.
Okay.
So it talks about whether is it nature or nurture. So with sports. So Is it your genes or is it how hard you work? Mm-hmm. All right. Now the end of the day, it's both. But you get parents, I love when the parents complain who don't come to practice and then their kid don't play. And I'm like, listen, that coach is given their time. They can have as many practices as they want, but you have to attend one a week. Yeah. And if you don't attend, then they don't know what they're doing, but they're, they'll this coach ain't playing my kid. But I tell coaches, keep track of attendance. And when they come, I'm like, your kid's made 2 practices and we're in week 4.
Yeah. If I'm not going to care about your kid's playing time if your kid doesn't care about the playing time.
Right.
I'm talking to Brad Robison of Beaver County Flag Football. Last question. Have you ever just straight up as a coach had to tell a parent, look, your kid's not playing because your kid stinks?
No, I would never do that. But
have you ever wanted to? Because usually, not always, the worst kid.
I probably wouldn't phrase it that way because I wouldn't want the kid. I wouldn't want to say that about the kid.
Right.
But I'd probably say his play is a direct reflection of where he came from. You.
That's even worse. Yeah. Well, unless they're too stupid to understand what you just said.
Sometimes if you say something with a smile, people will nod, and then later they're like, what did he say to me?
Did he insult me? I think he did.
Yeah.
What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? How many teams are there? Is there a team named after Alabama? As an Auburn guy, I think you would have at least gotten a war eagle or a tiger or some logo.
Yeah, we do college teams.
Okay.
So I meant to bring a shirt with me. And
what are the teams? Do you do?
They change. So we have Pitt, Alabama, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida State, Clemson. We've had North Carolina. We're going to have Colorado this year and USC. We're changing it up a little bit. And then next year, we're working on doing something completely different for the 10th year.
You're already planning ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about it. So we'll see what we come up with. But the registration ends March the 2nd. Season begins the 6th, ends the 12th. We play all games at right field on the turf in Chippewa. Nice. We start Saturday mornings at 8:15 a.m., and we usually finish up around noon. Right now we have, I think, what do you say? I can tell you how many teams we have.
All right.
But normally, this is really good because normally the majority of our registration happens in the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So right now in so we do age groups based on grade. So pre-K through 1, we have 4 teams of 12. 2 through 4, we have 8 teams. Grade 5 through 6, we have 8 teams. And 7 plus. So we put 7th through 12th together. And right now we have 5 teams.
Wow.
So by the time registration ends, it could be... it could be a lot bigger. That's going to be an issue, maybe, because normally there's nobody behind us, but this year soccer comes right behind us. So if we have a lot more than we're expecting, then we might have to play some games on the grass behind. But we play 4 games on a regular turf field. You play sideline to sideline.
That is a great problem to have.
Yes, it is. I'm not going to complain about it.
Well, promise me, once the season gets going, you'll come back and give me an update?
Absolutely.
Let me know who the champion is. I bet the Alabama team's going to...
Yeah, well, Caleb DeBoer isn't coaching this team. But, yeah, I don't know. You can register a couple of different ways. You can register as an individual, but we have people that register as a team because they can carpool and things like that.
They've already know who's going to be on it, so they just sign up as 1 for 12.
Right. Okay. So... if you sign up as an individual, people say, well, how do you pick teams? Well, what we do is because we're a county organization, even though we get people from Ohio, West Virginia, all over that come and play in our league, if you register as an individual, then we try to put you on a team with kids that live as close to you as possible. So that the coach will have practice that's close to you. We don't want you to live in Elwood City and have to practice in Hopewell.
Right.
That just wouldn't make sense. So we try to put you geographically on a team as best we can. Okay. But we do have where parents can request a coach or they have player requests. So if your child wants to play with a friend, because especially the little kids, they aren't comfortable unless a friend's there.
They want a buddy.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we do a really good job, I have to say that, of accommodating as many requests as we can. There aren't too many we haven't been able to accommodate over the years. But So you can register that way, or you can register like if your son or daughter has friends or kids you coach in some other sport and you want them to play, then you can register as a team.
Well, you're coming back to talk to us more about it as it gets closer and the season goes. Deal?
Yep.
Absolutely. Brad Robison talking about Beaver County flag football. Next is Best of Beaver County, Mike Rome. I'm going to sit here for about a half hour and spell me.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. At Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, they